go.
Local sustainable is the way to go. To begin, I would like to say that you as an American have the choice of what kind of food you want to eat. But I'm going to convince you to choose the local sustainable food chain. Although it may take a while for us as a nation to transition into this food chain, I think that it would benefit the world significantly. The way that we produce food now with the industrial food chains in large amounts makes pollution a lot worse. And with the local sustainable food chain, they don't use large factories, so that problem's not as bad. I believe that the local sustainable food chain is the best food chain to feed America because it is the healthiest for our bodies and for the environment in the long run. The local sustainable food chain should be applied in the U.S. because it's healthiest for humans, the healthiest way to produce food for the world, and for the direction that we're going as a nation with oil usage, it makes the most sense. So let us see in further detail why I have chosen the local sustainable as my food chain. The first reason that I would want to go into further detail with is the point that local sustainable food chain is healthier for the overall health of humans than any other food chain. From a website, I found it said, but generally speaking, grass-fed cows, as you see in this picture, eat mostly grass, while grain-fed cows eat mostly an unnatural diet based on corn and soy during the latter part of their lives. The animals on local sustainable farms are not grain-fed. They are all grass-fed, which is obviously the best option for health. Another known fact for the health is that the pesticides that are used in the industrial food chain are thrown out the window when it comes to local sustainable farms. There also may be problems with pesticides, and by far this occurs when they are used in a manner that the manufacturer did not intend. This quote I found on another website, and it shows how industrial farms can mess up with the pesticides and make the food unhealthy for us as humans that consume the food. That problem is completely eliminated when you get food from the local sustainable farms. The last point that I would like to bring up is that the animals on local farms are moved regularly and they get fresh grass to eat. That grass, amazingly, was fertilized by those same cows when they were in that pasture a few weeks before. When it comes to overall health, no food chain can compete with the local sustainable. Now, the second reason that I would like to inform you about is the fact that it is much better for humans, but also much better for environmental health. With all these industrial food chains polluting the world while they make food for America, we won't be alive to try and switch to the local farm. The first detail is that the way that the animals are treated and eat the grass, it helps local streams or rivers from being polluted by big factories. The next reason I'd like to tell you about is that the chemicals or pesticides, whatever you want to call them, that industrial farms use are not a problem with local farms. The chemicals can cause some serious health problems with humans, as I've said before, so if we eat from a food chain that doesn't use them, we can all be healthier. The last reason is pretty similar to the first. It helps prevent pollution to the environment. The factories and machines that give off air pollution are pretty much eliminated by local farms because they don't have large factories. That is the second reason on why local sustainable food chain is the best for America. Now, the final reason that I would like to bring up is the fact that the direction that we're going as a country was using all the resources that we have. The local sustainable farms make the most sense to switch to. Gasoline or oil is being used up very fast, and the big industrial food chains don't help the issue of oil consumption. The local sustainable food chain solves that problem by using smaller amounts of oil and gas to run the farms. So in the long run, it would help keep oil around for a little longer. The second reason on how the local farms are going to help this issue is that they would produce food that isn't shipped around the world like industrial farms. Customers would actually have to drive to the farm to pick up the food instead of large diesel engine trucks that drive all over the country to deliver food to large companies. Some foods even have to fly around the world when it comes to the industrial food chain. If you could just take the time to drive a couple hours max to your local farm to get your food, you could help the world and your very own family significantly. I don't know about you, but if I could help keep the #1 most used resource around for a bit longer, I would definitely take the opportunity to do so. Now, some people don't agree with how I feel, and some people would say that the local farm is not the way to go in this country. These people believe that the way the food is made in large proportions and shipped all over the country can be very beneficial, for how many people live in America. But if you really think about it, the local sustainable farm tends to that issue by having more small family-owned farms around the nation instead of these large pollution monsters called industrial factories. I just ask of you, if you don't agree with my point of view, to take the perspective of someone who likes the local farms, because after a while we as a country will be in a state where we will need to depend on them. That is why I have made the local sustainable farms my choice for where I get my food. I have given you only 3 of many reasons why the local sustainable food chain will be the best food chain for the future of the U.S. and for its citizens. I am confident that I have changed someone's mind today, but for the rest of you who are going to stick with your food chain, I hope you have some pretty good reasons for why. Thanks for listening to my speech.